For your Tier 3 resource this month, I have for you the Anger Management Individual Curriculum. Now, why I think you should use a planned curriculum when it comes to your individual students, opposed to like just a random puzzles, games, or chatting, is because transformation takes place with structure. So when you can measure things and you see how things are going and how students have progressed, that's where the real change takes place. And plus, the kids kind of get a feel for what to expect from your lessons, and then they're going to be more invested in their progress. They're also ASCA aligned, so you can make sure that these are research and standards based. And they allow you to track data, again, allowing us to improve our programs based on student results. So you get 2 versions of feelings checks posters included in this individual curriculum. So similarly to how we use these in the groups, I encourage you to always model and go first, and to be transparent yourself in saying how you're feeling and why. So you can always use the prompt, I'm feeling blank because blank, and then have the student do that as well. Now these include a counselor's guide, so you have in there your objectives, those ASCA standards that it's aligned to, and then some supplemental resources as well. And there are 5 included activities, so an anger explosion craft, a social story and dice game, mindfulness discussion cards, a reflective think sheet, and a coping skills game. So here's the anger explosion craft activity. So this is fun. You're basically going to make a volcano with the kiddos. So I love the analogy of the volcano. I've done this before and they just absolutely love it. So, you use the dish soap, vinegar, and baking soda, and then the soda bottle, and you can make a volcano. And you can even put the clay around it to make it look like a volcano. You can get as creative as you want to here. And I have a tutorial video for you that you could watch as well. And after you do the eruption craft activity together, then there are some discussion questions, so they can reflect about what was underneath their volcano, like what's the source of their anger, what happened, when did they explode, and what was the lava overflow or the consequences that they dealt with. Then there's a social story and dice game. So I love social stories. It's a great opportunity for the kids to kind of externalize their feelings to another character. So in this case, it's Andy. So you're going to read about Andy. And then hopefully, they see a little bit of themselves in Andy. And then there's a die that you're going to toss and they can answer the questions. Then there are some mindfulness discussion cards. So these are kind of like task cards that they can practice, to practice these mindfulness strategies. And you can discuss how mindfulness is a great strategy to use when we're feeling angry, and the importance of practicing that strategy when we're not feeling angry, so when we are, it'll come more naturally to us. So there's things like rainbow breathing, counting your breaths, grounding exercises like a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 with your senses, looking around for things that start with all different letters of the alphabet. There's a variety of different mindfulness exercises there. And then there's a reflective think sheet. So on this one, they're going to write in the time of day, like on their daily schedule, and then they're going to indicate how they're feeling. So this is a cool way for them to kind of see what parts of the day they're getting angry in. So for example, if they have like breakfast, math, soccer practice, homework, well, maybe they're always getting angry at soccer practice because it's like a really high competitive time. Or maybe they're getting angry at homework because they don't understand what they're doing. So that is a great way to kind of dial in exactly what they're getting angry on, and then we can figure out the source of their frustration and anger. And a coping skills game. So this one's fun. The kids are going to flick a quarter and try to land it into the ice cube tray, and then depending what row they get it on, that's a coping skill that they can discuss if they think it would help them or not. So you can discuss the different ones, like going on a walk or run, listening to music, taking deep breaths. And, again, this is just a way to start a discussion. So you can ask the kids, have you tried this coping strategy before? Did you find it helpful? Would you try it again? What would you do instead? Things like that. And it includes 5 journals. So this is split up over 5 sessions. And these journals are really fun because they're not just simple lined prompts. They're very visual. So for example, this one's like soda pop, and it's talking about how when you shake up a soda bottle, it builds and builds and finally erupts. Or you could use the volcano analogy as well. But for the soda bottle, they're kind of, writing different things that upset them on the bottle that could cause them to finally explode. Same thing with the thermometer, heating up. They're getting to write about how the actions they take when they're heating up. So what do they do when they get angry? When they're the least angry to the most angry, what actions do they take? And then finally, there's the data tracking tools. So there's a self-assessment and a student rating scale. So the self-assessment you're going to give them during the first session and the last session, and it's where they can, answer the questions or the statements based on the objectives that you have for each session. So, for example, you're trying to figure out how often they feel angry, if they know what to do when they feel angry, if they can name coping strategies, if they know what makes them feel angry. And so, again, encourage them to be honest. There are no right or wrong answers, and you can then compare their progress to see how they've changed since the services have started. There's also student rating scales. These are a little different. They're going to color these in each session, and these are more self-perceived progress. So they're writing how angry they were that week or that day. So if, 1 week they might be a 2, the next time you see them they might be a 4, then they might be back to a 2. So this is another discussion point. Hey, I noticed you were a 4 today. What's going on? Did something happen? So it's just a cool way for them to see that growth is not necessarily linear and that it can change every day. And I have some more data collection tools for you. Now, these are great. These are behavior surveys. So these you'll actually send to the parents and the teachers. The previous 2 I showed you are for the students. These are for parents and teachers. So you're going to send these out again before services have started and at the conclusion of services to see how the students' behaviors are changing. Now, it's really nice to get this data and to compare it. How have they changed, at school versus at home? Are we seeing improvements in both places or only in one place? And of course, I have digital versions for you because I love digital versions. So I have these set up in Google Forms if you'd rather do the digital option as well. And then you can always go to the responses tab and they put those pretty graphs together for you. And that's a great way to easily display things for your data wall. Okay, guys, I hope you love this individual curriculum.